Jump, buddy.
All right, the Mogul Test. Hi there, I'm Justin Pritchard. This is the Mercedes E450 4MATIC All Terrain Wagon. It's one of the smoothest and quietest vehicles I've ever driven, and in this video, we're going to get into some of the technology behind why.
This is the lifted and outdoorsy Mercedes E450 All Terrain Wagon, and it is an $82,000 alternative to a sub-six-figure luxury crossover. With its long roof and deep, easily accessed cargo hold, the E450 All Terrain has the space and flexibility that shoppers in this universe are after. Ditto a selection of features, technologies, and engineering tweaks that give this stately-looking station wagon one of the smoothest and most disturbance-free drives I've ever encountered on northern backroads and trails in recent memory. The intention with this machine is delivery of a driving experience that's ready for adventure, commuting, light off-road duty, and everything in between. It's the Mercedes E-Class take on a recipe you've seen before. Take a standard wagon, lift the suspension, add some scratch-resistant cladding and all-terrain tires, and all the while maintain that classy station wagon look that outdoorsy wagon shoppers love. I'm one of them, by the way. Here's my Volkswagen Alltrack. Shoppers in this pricing ballpark seeking a machine that delivers crossover capabilities with decidedly more car-like looks, a more car-like driving position, and more car-like dynamics can consider the E450 All-Terrain highly worthy of further investigation. On board, the cabin is appointed beautifully, right down to the high-end finishing that spans the entire interior from dash to cargo hold. The jacked-up ride height is relatively lower than that of a crossover SUV, making the cargo hold easier to access for the family dog, for loading and unloading of gear, or for young grocery helpers as items are loaded in and out.
No, usually the camera case has to go sideways, and the tripod is usually, but everything, lots of room. Like I still got another half a foot there over my tripod.
The cargo hold itself is deep, and many items I normally have to turn sideways in a crossover SUV can be loaded in straight, since there's plenty of space between the tailgate and rear seat backs. If you're regularly loading in bikes, strollers, ladders, or other long and awkward items, this can make life easier. Two key technologies stole the show as I spent 1,800 kilometers testing the E450 All-Terrain in and around Northern Ontario for various assignments for TV and web. Separately, these two technologies are impressive in their ability to refine key parts of the driving experience, especially in relation to use on rough trails and northern backroads. But combined, they give the E450 All-Terrain a powerful personality that's defined by a smooth, quiet, and strong performance over virtually any surface. First, the suspension. From its lowered position, drivers can press a button to lift the E450 All-Terrain suspension up, adding ground clearance on command to keep the floor, bumpers, and vital organs beneath further from the turf. In the Off-Road Plus setting, the suspension lifts as high as possible, provided drivers keep speeds to 35 km per hour or less. Even in its regular drive height, the All-Terrain sits some 2 inches higher than the standard E450. The added clearance allows drivers to summon additional confidence at the touch of a button. That's useful for tackling deep snow, rough trails, or more challenging terrain. It can also help you avoid getting high-centered, hung up in deep snow, or having the underbody remodeled by a boulder. All the while, a low and in-control driving position and handling are delivered when you're on city roads and highways. All said, the ride is low and car-like, or jacked up and ready to hit the trails. You're the boss of the E450 All-Terrain's suspension.
Now, the push-button lift kit is just one of the tricks that this car has up its sleeve. Elsewhere, this setup, which Mercedes calls air body control, results in a suspension that's alive, intelligent, and very manipulative.
Within each of the 4 dampers are sensors that monitor the speed, position, and forces applied to each in real time. Each damper also contains multiple air tanks separated by solenoid-controlled valves. Rather than simple springs that just bounce, the air body control suspension is constantly calculating, optimizing, and adjusting the vehicle's ride. The result is a suspension that's alive, intelligent, and very manipulative. Triggered on the fly, lightning speed changes to damping force can be applied on a wheel-by-wheel basis. And from the driver's seat, you're suspended on 4 high-tech air springs that have full control over their springiness in real time. The goal is improved ride comfort and control that applies to a wide range of conditions. Here's some footage of a cool on-screen visualization of what the suspension system is doing in real time. So forget bouncing. Most of the time the suspension works the shocks to give you a nearly hovercraft ride. Highway touring is as quiet and relaxed as you'd expect for the dollar, but the highway ride quality is the star of the show. With its superstar dampers, the E450 All Terrain hovers instead of bounding, and absorbs instead of rebounding. Observant drivers will often feel the system working its air tanks and valves to help neutralize the physical forces acting on the vehicle's body. In turn, the body, and those passengers sitting inside of it, spend less time in motion after a bump in the road, which dramatically smooths out the ride. On backroads, trail, and off-road mogul surfaces, the air body control suspension continues to play a major role. Most imperfections and dips are smoothed out well, but the system does its most impressive work when the going gets even rougher and more challenging. Even driven over a mogul surface that turns the ride in many fixed-spring crossovers into a mess, the E450 all-terrain suspension exerts further control over the entire travel of each damper. And even with a rapidly undulating surface beneath, there's a strong and precise feel of isolation.
All right, the Mogul Test. This gives the suspension in this E450 All Terrain Wagon a bit of a workout.
Keep your speed reasonable, and the E450 All Terrain tracks straight and smooth over surfaces that repeatedly smash the bump stops on lesser suspensions. And that gives you, in the driver's seat, a smugly satisfying sense of nearly floating on a computer-controlled cloud.
This is remarkably comfortable considering what we're driving over.
Isolation from most disturbances in this setting is very good, but note that with 20-inch wheels, my tester's ride did get loud and choppy over certain washboard surfaces, potholes, and the like. Tire noise on coarsely textured pavement was also higher than I expect for the money, about 92,000 Canadian for my generously equipped tester. All said, the high-tech suspension enables a creamy smooth highway ride that stands up nicely on rougher surfaces too. Special thanks to the long wheelbase, which helps inherently smooth out a vehicle's ride too. A second technology lives under the E450 All-Terrain's hood and works hand in hand with that suspension to help drive this machine's smooth and relaxing character home. 6 in a row makes it go. My tester was powered by the M256. That's a 3-liter straight-six turbo with 48-volt mild hybrid system that Mercedes calls EQ Boost. Basically, this turns the engine into a gas-fired hydro station and unlocks the ability to generate large amounts of electricity automatically as you drive around. That's stored within an onboard battery and can be used directly by the engine to deliver a performance boost and a reduction in fuel consumption. Output is rated at 362 and 369 for horsepower and torque. But the EQ Boost system's electric bits add 21 horsepower to the mix when requested, while dramatically improving low-rev throttle response and torque. So from the driver's seat, it's immediate off-the-line throttle response as the electric motor punches up power output before the turbocharger gets spinning. Once it does, a split second later, things ramp up as the straight-six gets breathing. With the turbocharger and electric motor boost working in carefully tuned sync, it's instant power from the driver's seat with no surging, lag, or delay. Best of all, there's rarely a need to get this engine spinning fast enough that you're able to hear much from under the hood. Careful though, the thrust is silent but deadly. Caution with your speed and religious use of the cruise control on the highway is advised, as this is one of those cars with such little feedback into the cabin that hitting demerit point velocities on the highway is a strong possibility without even realizing it. The first time you experience this, you'll probably swear like I did. The E450 All-Terrain feels comfort first at all of its controls, and the handling probably won't impress sportier drivers, but its strong, quiet engine discreetly delivers big torque output.
Saw how easy that was to get in and out. The suspension is in the slightly lifted position right now. Here's my comfortable driving position. I am about 5'10", 200 pounds or so. Nothing's cramped around me. Headroom is decent. I've got lots of storage everywhere. Good outward sight lines, actually, compared to a crossover. A lot more glass around me in the interior. Better lookout. Now let's see how I fit in that back seat behind myself. Decent knee room. I've got the width of my hand here in terms of knee room ahead of me. We've got 2 high-speed USB charging ports, another power outlet down there, climate control vents. All in all, no problem, I'd say, for 4 adults or your average sized family of 5. And look at all that room behind us too.
A further technology is worth mention, and it's the headlights. My Tester's active LED multi-beam system helped me enjoy all of that smooth, quiet performance even after dark. Special talents include automatic high beams, steerable projectors that can even pre-illuminate corners based on GPS telemetry, and also the ability to detect glare from oncoming signs and optimize the beam pattern to reduce it. From behind the wheel, a potent widescreen spread of clean white light dances and optimizes in front of the vehicle in real time, turning in tremendous after-dark confidence on unlit highways, primarily by ensuring you've got plenty of light where you need it and almost none where you don't. Gripes included some fiddly controls around the driver, for instance a gear selector wand located where most cars keep their wiper stock, and heated seat controls mounted on the doors away from the rest of the climate control system. Further, wipers are controlled by manipulating the end of the turn signal lever, and the headlights are controlled by a dial on the left-hand side of the dash. Further, I got numerous requests from the car's safety systems to place my hands on the wheel while they were already there. Ultimately, shoppers looking to spoil themselves with a high-end, high-capability luxury model can consider the E450 All Terrain, a strong value on something unique and compelling in the rapidly expanding luxury utility universe. Those after a smooth, quiet, and relaxing driving experience, on-road or off, will find the strongest return on their investment. For the money, be sure to consider the Land Rover Defender and GMC Yukon AT4 as well. They're 2 of my other favorites from testing in similar settings. So you've got some great choices in this universe, and one of them is an interesting station wagon with an interesting technology-powered personality that you'll appreciate if you frequently use your E450 All Terrain in a locale like mine.
The intention here is to create a driving experience that's ready for adventure, commuting, light off-road duty, and everything in between.
My name's Justin Pritchard. Hit that like button down below if you learned something new, and until next time, take care and drive safe.